Happy St. Patrick's Day! You have now entered Samore's World 2013 Black Irish Update. Be sure to comment, like this video, and subscribe. Hey fams, how are you? Happy St. Patrick's Day! Yes, I am back.
Oh gosh, she come back again!
Okay, so for those of you that don't know me, allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Samore, and last year for St. Patrick's Day, I did a video called I'm the Black Irish, or I'm living proof that there are still Black Irish. Well, who told me to do that? Because it sure did stir up a lot of trouble. Just look at some of the comments that I got.
Good to your friends. I will always be true to my friends. I could never ever forget them. Never ever forget them. Always be good to your friends.
Someone had said that I need to find my roots and be more on my black side. And does this help? Am I taking it back to my roots now? Huh? Does that make you happy? But they weren't all bad. I also had some good ones, and these are just like, I'm just gonna randomly pick like one or two. So here goes some good ones.
I will always be good to my friends. I will always be true to my friends. I could never ever forget them. No, I'll never forget them. Always be good to your friends.
This actually became not one of my most highly viewed videos, but one of my most highly commented videos. I guess YouTubers kind of like a little bit of drama, and they like to get at you when they see you do something wrong. So I wanted to first, before I start my formal video, to take some time to go ahead and apologize to those of you that may have gotten offended for the simple fact that I did make an error when I had made the video. I said I did research, but it wasn't the best. I think I only looked at one site and it had like wrong information. So now I actually have a little bit of paperwork. Yes, I actually have some notes, because I was like, you know what, I'm not going to F up this time around, because I don't know if this is going to be a yearly thing. Hopefully it won't have to be, but yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I came up here and clarified a few things. Alright, so here we go. Alright, so the Irishman, and this is from a few different websites. I compared notes, made sure that all the notes that I had were pretty much similar or on the right tracks. So the Irishmen were not the plantation owners for the most part, as I had said in my previous video. The Irish were actually slaves as well as the black African slaves. So they were actually working with each other. And let's tell you how all this has happened from what I've learned by doing real research. Okay, so Montserrat is known as the Emerald Isle of the Caribbean. Okay, and because of the large Irish population that it has had since early history, the overall population in the island did drop in 1989 because there was a hurricane called Hugo, and then again in 1995 because of the volcano, which I actually mentioned in the last video that I did. You remember that? And I actually remember that because that's when my sister was born, which is approximately 18 years ago. Yeah, crazy, time flies. And they were giving like people temporary protected status here in America and stuff like that. Okay, and in the 1600s, Montserrat, it then became a safe haven for Irish that were escaping religious prosecution. And the tons of Irish were killed, they were stripped apart from their families, and according to what I read, it was all because of the Englishmen or the British. Okay, so, alright, before we go any further, British people, do not come up on here and bombard me with evil messages, okay? Because this is all what I've been reading, is that the British and Cromwell were the folks that did this to the Irish, okay? And I'm an Irish descendant. I don't care what anyone says, plain blank, period. But I'm also British. That's a known fact. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no discussion. I am a British national. Like, that's it. Okay, so Yes, okay, so don't come telling me, I'm anti-British or anything. That's what I am, okay? I may not have the British accent, but I am British, okay? But I'm from America. Okay. Alright, so the Irish were originally sent to exile as slaves, or what was mostly preferred to have them called was indentured servants. The upper class kind of, well, supposedly indentured servants, from what I read a while ago, was like the upper class slaves. But from what I read here, it didn't seem like they had the upper hand. It seemed like they actually had the lower hand, if you want to call it that, because they didn't really, from what I read, it was like really the African slaves that got better treatment in a way than the white slaves or the Irish slaves. Okay, so back to where I was at. The planters had begun to breed the Irish women, as somebody had mentioned in my last previous video. One of the comments said that it was the Irish women that were getting forced to have sex with the African slaves. Therefore, they can have lighter kids, which would make higher money, okay, higher bidding, because, slaves were getting bought. So, and then it wasn't until 1681 that there was a law passed that forbid this type of actions, because it was like some other society that was losing money. So it wasn't because they were like morally, just, or they were saying, oh, we're gonna stop this, because this is wrong, this is bad, this is evil. No, it was all about the money. That's the reason why they said, okay, we're gonna forbid this from ever happening again, because it got so widespread that it was crazy. So that's why in Montserrat there's a lot of people that are light skinned. I mean, I wouldn't really call myself light skinned. I'm black, I'm brown, whatever. So according to all these sites that I read and researched, it wasn't, the walk in the park. They weren't the owners. They were actually, pretty much doing everything side by side, hand in hand with us, which is crazy. The white people and the black people, the Irish as well as the Afro-Caribbean folks. Okay, and by 1648, there were thousands of Irish families on the island. The national emblem. So some of the things that I'm going to show you, which are similarities from Ireland to Montserrat. That's the reason why it's called the Emerald Isle of the Caribbean. Like, we're one of the only islands that celebrate St. Patrick's Day because of everything that has occurred. So for someone or any of you to come and tell me, oh, you're not Irish, you're not, I mean, I'm not from Ireland, I'm not Irish, per se, but I'm an Irish descendant. And no one's going to ever take that away from me, like I said earlier. But anyways, some of the things in the similarities are the national emblem that's carved. It's an Irish shamrock adorning Government House. They also say that we have like similar music styles. We have similar taste for liquor like Guinness. I remember I used to drink that, but now I'm like laid off on the liquor. Like I'm not really all that hardcore of a drinker anymore. But back in the days, I used to be drinking my Guinness. And we got goat water. That's another thing that I does drink. And what else? I really love my goat water. Like, I haven't had it in a while, but they said that that's something that the Irish people have that we actually have that's similar. I know some other Caribbean countries have goat water, but they call it Manish water. Like Jamaica has it, they call it Manish water, but we call it goat water. And I guess the recipe or whatever is similar to that of the Irish from Ireland. And on another website that I went to, someone had said that Montserrat is the Emerald Isle of the Caribbean, where shared servitude forged a bond between black and whites, and that has endured for over 400 years, which is what makes it impossible to be racist. And that is beautiful, to know that everyone can live together. Nothing like racism should exist. And I have so many family that is of lighter complexions, and this explains so much. It tells us so much. I have some family that have red hair and lighter skin than I have, and their real hair is a reddish color that grows out of their scalp. I have some that have some freckles. So it all makes sense. But, no one has to agree with me. No one has to say, oh yes, you're right. It doesn't really matter to me because I know my roots and I know where I came from, and I'm going to continue to search. I'm going to continue to find more information and just spread the word and share it to my son. Montserrat, as I'm reading right here, is the only other country outside of Ireland that celebrates St. Patrick's Day, and it lasts for about a week. Some common Irish last names from Ireland are Allen, Daly, Ryan, Sweeney, which are like all of my family, and one of those are actually my last name as well. And they are said to be usually lighter skinned Montserratians who retain some Irish traits. Okay, so my point of view for this video, okay, I'm pretty much done with my notes, is not to say, oh, you know, this is what happened, to rewrite history. And I'm going to make sure that I fix the other video that I did. I'm going to put some annotations. The only thing wrong with the annotations is that when people are viewing mobile, they're not going to be able to see those annotations. So hopefully they read the comments, which no one ever does, but whatever. This is a video response to that. So hopefully people will look at this updated video response and realize that I did make a correction, and I apologize for that. But that, me making an error is no reason for anyone to call me the N-word or anything like that, because it's unnecessary. And these are people that are pretty much cyber bullies and should be ashamed of themselves. They should go and, you know, I'm not even going to say what they should go do. They should just go jump somewhere and or hide under a rock and just wither away and cry. Because to ever try to bring somebody down because you're upset about something is completely ridiculous. So, you know, go somewhere with that, okay? Ain't nobody got time for that, okay? People in America, y'all probably know what I'm talking about when I say this. But yes, guys, so that's pretty much concludes my response to my video that I did. And guys, go ahead and comment below, and I will be commenting as I usually do, because yeah, I be on it. And I'm definitely going to make sure that I want to thank each of you that have given me nice comments and have given me constructive criticism and have corrected me. I have no problem with corrections, just do it in a tactful way. Okay, so once again, happy St. Patrick's Day, and my word in closing is just to, you know yourself, be happy with yourself, and find corrections in yourself as opposed to finding them in others. And if you are happy with yourself, then kudos to you. And it's always good to know where you came from, and don't ever forget where you came from when you're going where you're going. I am Montserratian, and I'm happy to be Montserratian, and ain't nobody gonna take that away from me. I'm British, and I'm also an Irish descent. Take care, y'all. Until next time. See ya.
I will always be good to my friends. I will always be true to my friends. I could never